Now, as I said, I keep the best for the last, so now we're gonna talk about Sweden. Well, with Sweden, if you didn't know, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's one of those Nordic countries and used to be one of those most safest and greatest place to live on Europe, at least, if not on the entire planet. And you can see here I prepare some news, so we're gonna look at that. But first, let's talk about population. Now, every time I see those mountains in a growing rate, that means problem for me. But overall, you can see they're still going up. But there are a few problems with that. Now, let's go a bit in the past. Let's see how they done back then. In 1955, 7.2, 2025, 10.6. So, not a huge increase in population, but again, they're not, let's say, the land, they're not that welcoming in one of those cold areas, and most of the population, it's pretty much focused in the southern part of the country. But even back then, they still have a growing rate of around 50,000 people per year, and the median age was around 35 years old, so already very old, I would say. But again, from the European standard, the way it is here. Fertility rate 2.25, so I would say very well for the replacement population, and the urban population was 70%, so it's kind of understanding. Like I said, very cold country, most of them just stay in the southern part of the country, and it's not, like I say, a huge country. You just count the south part, and kind of makes sense that most of the people are gonna live tied together in the cities or small towns. Now, back to the present. In 2025, they have 10.6 million people, and the growing rate is also around 50,000. So you can see, pretty much you would say nothing changed, but we're gonna see something. Actually, it is changing. And now the median age is 40 years old, so again, not that much increase, but still they're going older. But fertility rate now it's 1.4. And there is something about this fertility rate that kind of worries me, because you can see here they got below replacement in 1970s, but despite all that, after so many years, we got a good year, let's say. And actually from 1955 to 2025, there seems to be the same change in population. But you're gonna see here the migrant crisis, I would say, in Sweden, because Sweden is one of those countries that like to take migrants from pretty much anywhere in the world, and we're gonna see that how well it's going for them. But at the Swedish population, I think even those numbers with migrants, I don't think they are completely fully honest. So probably they're gonna have much more migrants than actually declare. But and also for those videos, I have to say once again, those numbers are pretty much shows a direction. They're not exactly accurate, but gonna keep you on a track, I would say. So you're gonna see here the migrant. Even in 1955, they used to have some migrants, but immediately, I would say, after going under the replacement rate, they kind of pretty much focused, especially in a few years like 2015, when you got a huge amount of migrants. Actually, in the northern country, they used to have this, let's say, policy that they are the land for everyone else. If someone's in trouble in some other part of the planet, they will welcome them, and they, let's say, give them houses or places to live, jobs. They have those institutions that pretty much doesn't matter what age you are, you're gonna go there and learn the language, learn skills, stuff like that. But now, let's go a bit and now obviously the urban population got growing. Now it's like pretty much 90%, so pretty much anyone living in a urban area, a city or a small town. So less people, let's say, in the countryside. But now let's look in the future. By 2050, you're gonna have still a small growing, but now it's an 11.3 million people. The yearly change is gonna go at 21,000, they say. But look at these things. Migration, they're gonna replace the growing rate of the native population. So probably even now, I would say Sweden, the native population of Sweden probably is going down, because having so many migrants, even from 1970s, 1980s, a lot of those people who were born in Sweden probably are from the first generation migrants. So again, native population probably already is going down, but you're gonna see here, even in numbers, you're gonna see migrants surpass actually the yearly change. So you can see a pattern here that's just gonna show up. And even the government, let's say, release those numbers, so you can actually see how bad things are really there. So yeah. The Swedish population is no secret, especially even for the Swedish on the northern countries. They're looking for the replacement of the population, and they look whatever they could in the planet to, let's say, where is the crisis, where people want to live from there, and they just pretty much take them, and now they say they school them, they housing, they give them free medical care and stuff like that. And also I heard someone from the ONG that say, oh yeah, we make a calculation and the total net is positive. So yeah, we're gonna see about that. Now 2050 the median age is gonna be 44, so like I say, they're getting older. Probably this number is gonna be a bit higher. I would suggest around 50, and the fertility rate they say is going to pick up a bit. I don't think so. Probably the native population have a fertility below 1, and the rest of them is covered by the migrants. Urban population 95%, they already are 90%, so I would say doesn't much make the difference. But let's look at the life expectancy, because it's supposed to live nice and long. From both sexes it's 84 years old, female 85 and males 81, 82, so not that much difference between female and males. So they are a pretty good one, I would say, life expectancy. But infant mortality and death under age of 5, 1.8 and 2.4, so very well for them. Clearly they have a good medical system, so don't have to worry that much about that. In the cities area, you have Stockholm with 1.5 million people, and the rest of them, they are under a million. Like I say, they're pretty much an urbanized civilization, with people living in small towns or in a medium-sized city. Now let's look very quickly about, like I said, randomly on the map. Let's see how they actually live from curiosity. We're not going for anything specific, it's just seeing how exactly Sweden looks from the Google Street View, Google Earth. Look at this. This is already a nice picture. You see, Sweden is one of those very protective country about their forests and stuff like that, and it's pretty good, I would say. They have a very good nice landscape there, but I am here to I'm interested more in the how people living in the towns, in the cities, and that is something that I want to see. So let's check this one. Like I say, randomly on the map. We don't know if we get a good neighborhood or a bad one. Yeah, so far I believe those, it looks to me like a social housing or something like that. Not a huge break deal, I would say, but it looks like that to me. Those small ones looks a bit better. Not that many people on the street. You can see what year is 2019, so we don't have a pandemic yet, but still this area looks much better. I like those cubic stone, much more European, I would say. Yeah, no people whatsoever. I don't know exactly what is it. It's August 2019. Okay, so we find the kid here. Yeah, in this area it doesn't look bad. It's a nice place, I would say, to live if you don't like that many people. So probably a good place. Now let's check on other cities. I don't want to go outside the boundaries, so Google also moving pretty slow today. I don't know exactly what's happening, but let's check this one. Very random, like I say, on the map. Housing is pretty much the same as any other country. They look pretty much all the same, I would say. They're nice one. Nothing to complain. They keep the street clean. They don't have, let's say, that many potholes, at least from what we saw. It's nice, but again, it's one of those Nordic boring countries. You're not gonna find that many things interesting, except if you look in the news. And now let's go back to that, because that's something that I want to talk about it and show it. Because Sweden always says just and not for long, not from a long time ago, want to be those safest countries. And you can see here already Sweden to hold tax on countering soaring food costs. I already have problem with food, and this is from March 14, 2025, so very recently one. Then of course the violence in Sweden got so much let's say news lately, but nobody, this is from 2023, so a bit older, but you're gonna see the spread of gang violence in Sweden. It's always pretty much now a very well known fact, and like I say, Sweden used to be one of those safest countries. Crime epidemic also, it's just pretty much every single day. Now chaos in Sweden as police give up on 61 out of control no-go zone. So I don't know where I heard, and this is from 31 January 2025, so really recently. You can see even the police give up on those zones. So they have those zones that you should never go. That's why they call it no-go zone. So practically, I think they put pretty much all, not all of them, but most of the migrants that came there, and they got free housing, free money, and they realized those people don't want to work, they just want to live on the welfare as much as possible. And the government kind of tries to clean up their mess, and now they have these huge problems. And look at this. Now, they have no way to fixing it, so pretty much, like I said, they make even those no-go zones now. So I don't know how they're gonna go that well in the future. Most victim in Swedish mass shooting, yeah, they have that mass shooting and immigrants background. So again, you're gonna see some violence against migrants too from the native people, I would say. And that's not long ago, I think a month ago. This was happening when some guy was joining one of those schools for adults, and they start shooting pretty much anything that moves. I think we saw that a few years ago in New Zealand, and now we have one of those in Sweden. So I would say not a huge something that you didn't see it coming after when everything was happened here in all this chaotic society right now. But no. And this one is topics people in Sweden worry the most about. In August 2024, you have the first place with crime and violence, so they're doing very poorly on that department. Poverty and social inequality. So they already have, they're talking the second place is poverty. And Sweden used to be, like I said, used to be like one of those paradise countries seen, but clearly it's not that much. Inflation, also a big worry about. Climate change, yeah, that's a huge problem. Climate change, not crime and violence and poverty. You just rank climate change very close to poverty. good job with that. Immigration control is less than climate change. Yeah, that's very accurate. Unemployment 70%. Okay, financial and political corruption. Corruption in Sweden. You have corruption in northern country. I think Norway says they have zero corruption, and clearly they're lying. And even those northern country people say that they're very, very low corruption, very well countries for doing business there and feel happy, and pretty much nothing wrong is happening. Now you can see in the recent years that's not the case anymore. Military conflict between nations, yeah, I kind of saw that with Russia, so nothing to worry about there, I would say. And coronavirus, yeah, we're still talking about coronavirus in 2024, so you can see how bad actually doing. So now let's look very quickly at the history, see how they done in the past. You can see they're not a huge old nation, so you can see pretty much nothing for thousands of years. And probably the first sign of Swedish civilization we're gonna see right here in the Kingdom of Sweden in 800. So I would say a very, very young country, but still they done well for themselves from the last until, let's say, 2000. I would guess they done pretty well. They still keep that great image about northern countries, but recently all of those, like I say, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, they are not let's say, everybody think about it, because even now you can see in the news, especially in the US and even outside it, let's say the northern country, you're gonna see that mass shooting attack in Sweden, how that happened. But yeah, they still have hold on that image that everything is perfect there and people are so happy and there's nothing wrong about them, and clearly that is not longer the case. So now, for those people who live in Sweden, I would like to hear about how exactly you think your country is going, because I can say, even like I say, Sweden's also one of those socialist countries that like to have a huge welfare state, and everybody's so happy there and they get anything they want, everything they need, no problem whatsoever. But clearly that is not the case, and probably, like I say, by 2050 you're gonna see everything pretty much falling apart. And after that, probably you're gonna see Sweden nothing more than just some glass shatters and car burning, and kind of that's it for the most of the country, I would say, especially in the southern part. And who knows, maybe with this climate change that they are so worried about, the people are gonna start moving actually outside the southern part of the country, and they start to rebuild themselves in the north, because in the south probably it's already gone. So yeah, if you live in Sweden, I am curious how used to be, let's say, from the 90s, and how was the difference between the 90s and today, because clearly something changed there, and I don't think it's gonna be for the best.